Hi, everybody. She's already started. Happens with comedians is they can't shut up. It's unbelievable. I've never gotten an intro in yet. I will try an intro. I don't like to do the intro. Who you've seen him on this and her on this. I don't like to do that. I do like to introduce the show, to say what we're about. We are about shifting the world. We're trying to get to a better place. We're sick of, we got to turn our way away from the news, away from the bad stuff, away from the fear, all that stuff that they're programming us with. Let's reprogram ourselves with levity and laughter. And what better person to do that? Reason I don't do a big intro is because I'm in a hurry. She's got to get out of here. She's got places to do and wine to drink. Heather McDonald, I am so excited to have you here. I've done your podcast, and I've been waiting to have you on mine. I have to go through your husband, though, which is a nightmare. So
no, it's not a nightmare. Thank you for having me. This is great. Beautiful setup.
I'm just happy to have you live. I watch you on Instagram all the time, which I have to tell you is a little uncomfortable. I'm friends with your husband, and you do this sexy shit all the time.
No, I don't.
What do you mean you don't? You know that you do. Your poses are ridiculous.
Once in a while.
Once in a while, it's every time.
Oh, come on. It's a lot of comedy and a lot of promotion. No, it is fun. It's a good, I work on the Instagram a lot.
I'm buddies with your husband, though.
Okay, good.
That's hard to do.
He doesn't care.
He doesn't care?
He's like the most non-jealous person on earth. Like, seriously. You can find someone less jealous than Peter, let me know him.
My wife. It's insulting it's insulting how we should get them together, and actually they should talk about how they are not jealous of us.
Yes, no, not at all.
I can make out in front of her, absolutely no problem. She would go, "Who's that? Can I hang with her? Does she do yoga?" I mean, that's how bad it is with our lack of jealousy. But I didn't realize that he wasn't jealous. Actually, he's so chill.
Yeah.
We're not here to talk about your husband, Peter. Who cares about Peter? But I mean, I'm like looking at you on Instagram going, Jesus Christ, these poses that you have. I think am I correct in assuming this? Are you kind of like playing up models and modeling, like you're almost like lampooning models? Is that part of it?
No, but hey. No, I will sometimes joke like this took, sometimes I'll show the video of how long it took to get the good pose because, I'm in that Instagram world and I follow Instagram, influencers and things like that. But so, yeah, as a comedian, I think I'm kind of in a unique space. I don't think there's anyone really like me that kind of like straddles the world of like Real Housewives and reality TV, being glamorous and not, and not pretending that I'm not. And then also being funny. So most, I don't know there's another female comic that really does what I do. There's a lot of other people that, interview the kind of people I do and follow the kind of topics that I do on Juicy
Not
Scoop,
your take, though.
But they're not comedians.
No.
So
Right.
it's like, when I started doing Juicy Scoop, I just wanted to do a show that was just always interesting to me because coming off of Chelsea Lately, which was a late night talk show, it did always have to be funny and the topics always had to be funny. So sometimes I'd put out a topic and I'd be like, ooh, we can't really make that funny, but it's so juicy.
But now you can relax into yourself. You're basically being yourself.
Yeah.
And I've said this for a while. Comedians, this is not a brag, are the greatest artists in the world because we have nothing except for us.
Exactly.
We don't have props. We don't have makeup people necessarily. You probably have a staff of makeup people.
No, I don't. I do my own
I'm kidding.
No, but
I'm a comedian.
No, but I do. I mean, most people are like sort of surprised by that. But no, I can do that. And that's one of the things that now, especially with a lot of people getting into podcasting, a lot of people doing these live like podcast shows, which are sort of like a talk show variety show on stage, and they're going on tour. And I think that's great for them. But what I was like, wait a minute, there's so few of us that can actually just go on stage and be a stand-up. It's like such a small percentage of entertainers can do that. So, and what's great about it and why we don't ever want to give up that craft, even if you get a TV show or you get something, you want to keep doing it because it is the one thing that you can always do and you only have yourself. You only have to, all you need is just your clothes for the night. The mic is provided.
Right.
You don't need to bring a band. You don't need
there's no roadies.
Yes, you don't need to bring all this extra stuff. And so...
But you're saying you got to work that muscle. Even if you have a sitcom, you still got to go back and do the rooms and work that muscle because that's something that will atrophy over time, which it did during COVID. I don't know how much you performed, But, the first few
didn't
times out of COVID were,
Yeah. I did one show last October at Tempe, and then 3 different weekends in Texas in between February
You did
and March.
the Tempe Improv?
Yes.
Where they had the glass between the tables. It was so weird.
I don't know. I didn't really mind it because it was
Everybody was like a bank teller.
It was half full.
Yeah.
But the way they did it, it was still spread out. So
yeah.
it still, as you're standing there, it looked full.
It did, yeah.
And it was just like, that was the first show I'd done in 7 months. And it was kind of freeing just to, because you had to throw away your old routine because it was like you hadn't done it in so long and you wanted to talk about what's going on now. So I found it to be like a little more freeing and improvisational and fun. And
so you weren't scared and you didn't feel like you're putting out the rust. You were going, no, this feels wonderful.
The first time, but then the next show was great and I just had a blast. And then I really had a lot of fun doing the Texas shows. And now I've got a bunch of shows starting up this fall in August with San Francisco. Finally going to my Cobb's date, which was literally canceled 3 days before the massive shutdown.
Wow.
And then it was
now you're
tried
back
to have it again, and now it's finally at Cobb's August 6th.
Once you get that first laugh, though, I have a theory, or maybe you might agree with this. I think people that the laughs are deeper right now, and they're a little more forgiving if you're trying new material, because they're rooting for us now, where they sometimes would root against us. Yeah. Of course, your fans never would, but you know what I'm saying? It's I think there's I bring notes on stage. Yes, they're not offended.
And just a little outline, like a 2 day. Yeah. Just because it's
some reminders in case you forget.
Yeah, because you don't have that fine-tuned hour that you've been doing for 6 months that you're getting ready to film or something. But that's also kind of more fun because I'm and it used to be oh my God, I forgot to do that joke and I'd be so mad at myself. And now I'm kind of whatever, the show was great. There's things that you change. Everybody's changed because of COVID. Yeah. And for me, it's I'm a little less harsh on myself in that way. And
we're all kind of free now. We're literally free. We're outdoors and outside and going inside. It's everything changed. And the one thing about COVID, as comedians, we look for commonalities. Mm-hmm. It's the only time in history you could ever have one commonality that everyone experienced it. Think about that. Yeah. If you go, men do this, women do that. No, not necessarily. Yeah. Now, in this case, everyone was quarantined. Right. Everyone went through this. Everyone went through some difficulties. And so that space is a different space than it's ever happened in history. When you think about it. No,
I know. And and that was also something very interesting about being, whether you're an actor, a comedian, a musician, is, when you're not working or when you're choosing to take time off, you still can look at your phone and maybe I had a weekend at home and I'm having a nice weekend and I look at my phone and I see my friend getting on stage and the whole crowd going crazy, cheering. And I'm I'm happy for her. I had a nice weekend, but there's a little of that FOMO, a little bit of competitive jealousy. Wow. And when you were nobody could go perform, it was amazing. Yeah. I loved it. Yeah. I loved it. I kind of needed that break and I was okay. No problem. Yeah. I'll wait till they tell me I can go. I didn't do the...
Oh, you weren't really longing. You were just enjoying yourself.
No.
Doing your poses.
There's certain comedians that it's almost an addiction or something. Yeah. They have to get on stage and they're just beasts about being on stage. I don't feel like that because doing my show, I do it 3 times a week. So I'm working the creative muscle and getting in front of people is just the most fun part of it. But I don't feel I need it for my ego or anything. And so, I didn't do the drive-in shows. I didn't do the Zoom shows. Yeah. And I know those were really profitable for people. And I'm
Not really.
Good for you. But I just...
They weren't.
I didn't want to do it.
No. It's good you didn't do it. No. I would never do a drive-in show when hecklers are enough, let alone behind the wheel of a car where they can honk their heckle. No.
Well, I thought the honk meant it was good.
It doesn't matter. Oh. Either way, how are you supposed to discern that was a good honk? You don't know if that was an approval honk or get off the stage.
I think Bonnie McFarlane was part of some film that they kind of followed, the drive-in movie, the drive-in comedy documentary. And I don't know if it's like a YouTube doc or like what level it was. I just saw her posting about it, and I was like, did I miss out on like a little moment of history? Like, should I have done this as just like I could tell my grandkids like I had to do a show at a drive-in, like. But then I'm like, no, who cares?
You dropped the FOMO and got in the pool with a glass of wine.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Someone told me that you were a part of a show where you did it from your pool, and they were, I think it might have been Chris Titus or.
It wasn't me.
No, you were, because this is a big fan of yours. My friend Jen, who's I know watching this.
I mean, I do Instagram lives and stuff.
Now, did you do one where you on remote from a pool with maybe Fortune Feimster? No, it was definitely you.
Okay, well.
But did you ever do anything from a pool?
I could have done like a quick video.
Yes.
That maybe they plopped in something.
That's what I mean,
okay,
yeah.
Possibly, yeah. But I wasn't like doing a stand-up act, no.
No.
Yeah,
and that's not what they were saying.
Okay,
they were saying you were interjected into this show that was live, but they brought you in on video.
Oh, yes.
You remember what I'm talking about?
Yes, I did it. It was for Fortune's show.
It was Fortune.
It was Fortune, and she had Chris Frangiola on, yeah. Oh. And it was like a Zoom show, yeah.
By the way, my new buddy, I love that guy.
I know.
I didn't know Chris before. All these years, I never knew him. Now he's my, I got a bromance.
Are you friend poaching?
Well, let's get into that.
Yes.
When you arrived today, I was going, who's going to be the guest before her? I got to get them out of here quick because you're a friend poacher.
No, but I already know him.
What's that?
I already know
I know. Yeah. But you could still reacquaint yourself and go, because anyway, tell people what friend poaching is. Did we come up with this together?
I came up with it. I have been saying it for like 3 or 4 years.
This is before you poached my friends. You had already been saying it. Because we talked about it on your podcast.
I just remember one time someone saying, you're trying to poach my writers. Like someone trying to steal writers from the show. Yeah. And so that's kind of where I got the idea. And then I just, it was just happening a lot with me in Hollywood where like, I would meet somebody and invite them over for dinner, and then I'd invite this other friend of mine who is my best friend. Like, I adore her, okay? She's a good friend of mine. And this other girl. And then, like, all of a sudden, I'd go on Instagram and see that they all went out to dinner. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I'm in town. I'm squatting at home. Now, I think there's rules to friend poaching. Okay, so you have a dinner party.
I want to hear these rules because Chris Spencer and I totally disagree on this.
Okay,
you're on my side on this.
Is what I think. You get invited to a dinner party or a party, okay, and someone goes, "Oh, Craig, you should meet Joe. Joe, Craig, you guys will, he does this, you do that." And you go, "Oh," you start talking, okay, and then you exchange numbers, and then you say, "Hey, I'm having a dinner party on Friday." Okay, that's fine that you invite Joe and his wife, but at least invite Peter, my husband, and I as well for the first go at it.
Okay, that's a rule. Okay, I like that rule.
That's a rule. And then if afterwards just the 4 of you get together or whatever, you kind of still reach out. I think some people, when they're poaching, they look at my schedule and they decide to have the dinner party when I'm in Boston. Because I swear to God that happened with Nikki Sixx. It absolutely.
You think it's that? You think it's that devious?
Yes, it was like 4 years ago.
That's heavy.
I try to say that I'm over it and I've matured during COVID and age, but I don't think I've matured that much.
Are there different categories when it's a celebrity friend poach?
Oh, it's way more. Celebrity or super rich?
Super rich or celebrity friend poach?
Well, that's who you want to poach. People are like, oh my God, I'm dying
I love she's admitting
to hang out with your post office guy. Like, he is the best. I'm taking him to Cabo. No, it's not
It's so bad with us now. When I talk to Peter, he'll say, "Oh, I knew him before you. I know him before you introduced us." That's what he said. So now we have to qualify.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
so we're all about
the date that we met and how we met, that it wasn't from you.
And then there's nothing better than when you have a friend that you believe is like a really bad friend poacher, and then they call you and tell you a story of where they're annoyed that someone poached someone of theirs.
Yeah,
and I'm like, hi, hypocrite.
Yeah, hello, karma.
Do I need to bring up these 4 occasions that happened? But now I am officially finally over it. I think. Maybe not.
No, I'm not. I have this guy. It's a repeat from Chris Spencer, but there's a guy I took to this golf hang. I took Peter there actually, and it's because during COVID no one was open, but this one was open. I could bring groups of 4, 8.
Yeah,
free golf. The guy contacts my contact, right? Right, without asking. And here's the worst part, Heather. I know you're going to be with me on this.
Yes, I'm with that.
I look on Instagram. He went and never asked me first.
That's the thing. Never
bad,
even
right?
asked you. That's very bad.
See, tell Chris Spencer that. He's defending this guy.
No.
It's
that's
so
very
wrong.
Bad.
Yes. And then when you complain, here's the worst part. You ever complain to them and then they make fun of you for complaining? Right. They turn it around and go, oh, you.
Or it's like this, or the Fred Poacher is talking to you about something else, and then at the end of the conversation, when you're like, I'll let you go, and they'll go, oh my God, I forgot to tell you, totally random, like last minute, Friday night, happened to like run into or text, and we all had dinner at Mastro's, but it was like super last minute. I just happened to be downtown in Beverly Hills, and I'm like, really on a Saturday night? Like those reservations are just like easy to get.
Yeah. I do get a little ping of like, why would you not at least give me the opportunity to turn you down?
Now, do you think when you have a hardcore poacher, as I do, I have a few.
That was a big poach this guy did, yeah.
Do you feel like now you are reluctant to include that person in like a killer fun night because you know that they're going to be all about like getting
I'm having a rough time inviting him to golf again.
Yeah.
Although he doesn't need me, he's like he's all in on the golf course. He takes foursomes out. And I'm not one of them. And he has all these excuses and stuff. It's amazing to me. I haven't happened.
It sucks because it does kind of hurt your feelings.
But also when it's somebody, powerful. We have a common powerful person in our lives that gives us great hang.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't have to whisper, Jeannie. So,
but she's not close to me. I mean,
she's not?
Nice to me when I see her, but
I thought you.
No, I don't have like her cell phone number. My good friend.
Wait a minute. Did you get the Jeannie hang though?
What do you mean? Like when
the backstage and all that?
Sometimes, but I would not directly.
What do you mean sometimes? How do you get it?
Not directly through her.
You go through Linda or somebody?
No, just other people invite me. And then when she sees me, she's like a total delight.
All
but
right.
I am not personally texting her, asking
She's
her
got to
for
be
her
on your
stuff.
poach list for me. She's got to be at the top.
I don't know, but even when I saw her at Dr. Drew's
with
60th birthday with you,
yes.
but I had met her many years before. I was the one who told her to do Pretty Funny Women to get going on stand-up, which my friend who runs that, Lisa Sunstead, for any female that is thinking about doing stand-up, it's a great program that she runs, and you meet other girlfriends, and it's very supportive. And
wait a minute, no. So
Pretty Funny Women.
Hold on.
So
I gotta put.
So I meet Jeannie through Lori Smith,
right?
And
you told her to do. So
and she said, "I want to be a stand-up." This is like 7 years
So
ago.
what's it called when you're taking credit for what I believe I'm the one that made it happen?
But maybe
what's that called?
Maybe you made it happen, but by going to Lisa Sunstead's class,
I'm
Pretty
semi-kidding,
Funny Women,
but we have to have a name for it though.
What's great about doing stand-up classes, whether you do that or something else, that's how I got my start, is it's a great, for a procrastinator, that after 6 weeks, Tuesday at 7 o'clock, you have to do 8 minutes, invite your friends and family, and it's just like a deadline for you. And so
she did it.
With Lisa's program, like she has those points. People will check it out, flake, whatever, but it's sort of an accountability. So anyway, my friend was very grateful that I sent her because she's like a delight.
I know what I'm going to call it, credit taker.
Okay.
We have friend poachers. How about credit taker?
I'm not saying.
Would you?
I just gave her a class
that's the third time that I got to go. I'm kidding.
I don't think you are. Anyway,
of course I am. I'm asking you to come up with the name with me.
So I asked her at Dr. Drew's show.
Yes.
I said, I would love for you to come on Juicy Scoop and just kind of give your life story, because I love getting people's life stories.
She's a great guest.
Even when they're reality show people with. And she was like, no.
What?
Yeah, really?
That's not true.
I swear to God.
You got to be kidding.
And I was like, can I get
your
number?
I didn't see that
coming.
coming.
Like, no. And and maybe she did not understand.
Whoa.
Or maybe she was afraid that I was poaching her from you.
No.
And she knows your history with it.
No, not at all.
Well, tell her she's welcome to come on Juicy Scoop.
I will make that happen because that is the weirdest thing that you would say.
Maybe
that.
she didn't understand me.
Maybe something in
loud.
translation here because it
Okay.
was loud that night.
Okay.
It was very loud. I'm going to make excuses for it. There's no way. I was thinking that she was on your show 9 times after you asked her. Because actually there's an article written that's coming out in the New York Times about pretty funny women. And Lisa Sunstead just contacted me 3 days ago out of the blue, and I was thinking about her as well because that's where she ended up going. And she did her material for, a professional audience and all that. Jeannie Buss, the owner of the Lakers, She wanted to do this, to help her get out of shells and, just look at the levity of life and all that. Well, you'll ask her that when she's a podcast guest of yours.
We'll see.
One of my favorite guests.
4 years. That same party, I asked, what the fuck is the name of the guy?
That was 4 years ago?
Maybe it's 3.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.
Yeah.
No, it was, it was like 2 because he's 62 now. And he's 62.
Yeah. And I see you and Dr. Drew are tight.
Who is the guy? Oh, God. Did Talk Soup.
John Henson?
No.
He
Joel
just moved in the name. Oh, Joel McHale. He was there that night.
Joel McHale was there.
Yes.
And I was like, will you come do my podcast, And,
what did he say?
He was like snarky about it, but gave me his number. And then when I reached out to him and was like, okay, let's get this on the books. And this is when I also would record on Sunset at Wondery, like for my Hollywood people. Like I would I was driving an hour.
Sure.
Now I get like, I've had like 10 requests a day to come on my show. And I'm like, it's Woodland Hills. And they're like, no problem. I'm coming from the OC. I'm like,
because you got popular.
Yeah, now you are. Now that I'm like number 6 and 7, like, now you want to be on it. But anyway.
Don't you have a little spite and you say, no, you're not.
So then, but, some people, but I also say, like, you got to bring the juice, and you got to tell a juicy story. Otherwise, like, no one cares, about whatever your thing is. So, but he wrote, we went back and forth and he was like being a dick. Like he was like, he said something like, I'll do it in like 2023 or something.
Oh man.
And I just was like, all right.
What's weird is he would
like, never mind.
He does everything. He would go to opening of an envelope.
But see,
he's on every show.
See, people were like, oh, who's this girl? Or she only interviews housewives. And they didn't, sometimes they're just like, it's a Chelsea person, or they just don't get it.
Yeah.
But now that it's more popular now, I'm like, whatever. But that's always true, And so that's why it's like when people do ask you to do something and you don't think it's worth your time, that's fine, but you should be nice about the rejection because you never know where that person's going to be.
You rejected me for a year. You're
years.
Finally here after rejecting me for all this time.
I did not reject
Peter did through you.
Whatever.
Peter says takes all. I took him to a date I thought he was going to poach my friend Jeff. I took him to an amazing mansion. Did you hear about that night?
Oh, first of all,
Peter, I took him to.
Can I first say about the night you took him to the mansion?
Okay.
Why wouldn't you have wanted me to go as well? Like, what are you, fucking P. Diddy? And just like, it's like, just guys go? Like, that just happened. P. Diddy just had a party for some security guard. And Chloe's baby daddy, Tristan, was there. He got caught cheating again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who's having these parties where all these guys have either wives or baby mamas or serious girlfriends and nobody invites their girlfriend?
Oh, I didn't know that.
What is this? So Peter's like, yeah, this is, I go, this is so weird that
he was my plus one. Could you have been my plus one? Well, since he's not jealous, you could have been my plus one.
You don't think you could have taken both of us?
No, absolutely not.
But don't you think I would have been well received?
No, if you were my plus one,
I'm just like, how do you?
I'm asking you this: can you be my plus one next time?
Two and no one would.
No, I'm asking you: can you be my plus one? No, you're wrong about that in this case. Absolutely wrong. There was no plus twos. And what would you have done? We don't know each other. I know your husband 100 times more than you do. What would you do if I did ask you that night?
I wouldn't want to go without Peter. I just thought it was
there you
weird
go.
that when he described the party and told me the kind of people that were there, I'm like, there's no way that if I arrived that people would be like, what's that guy doing there?
No. In the normal parties that he has, I could have gotten away with it because they're gigantic. And, you've heard about that. Tom Jones, the Beach Boys, Bobby Brown all sing together. It's crazy. These jams that he has, crazy place. I will take you there. So will you go with just me and no Peter and no my wife?
No.
Let Peter and my wife go hang out and be jealous together. We'll finally make them jealous.
No, I'd have to go with my husband.
Damn it.
Just in case it isn't as fun as you say, and then I can leave.
No, we go in the same car, damn it. So you have a special, this is the only time I ever read anything. It says, I don't mean to brag.
That was
TV.
that was my first special. This is kind of an old, whatever these notes are. No, but I had a second special, which is on Amazon Prime, which we filmed and produced ourselves, that came out about a year. Well, when did it come out? I don't even know. It's very hard to figure out. It came out during COVID, so I don't even know what.
Yeah, that's like a year lost. We can't figure anything out from that year.
When was summer?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's like your whole life is now going to be like
COVID,
post-COVID.
Yeah, what were they doing last summer?
Yeah.
It's the weirdest summer. Yes, exactly.
But anyway, it's available on Amazon Prime, and that is my second special, which is just called Juicy Scoop. And my first one is, I don't mean to brag, but honestly, I don't know if it's available. You could probably watch it free on YouTube.
Okay, really so when you did your own special, did you like bring in a director? You brought in everything.
It was a horrible experience.
Really? I was ready to. I was going to direct or poach.
No, this is what it is. I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
Leading up to it, it was a lot of arguing with my husband.
Really?
Yes, about it. And
he was the producer.
He was a producer, and we had some issues going on. We had like a legal thing happening, which then we won. But it was like, I think we were just stressed about like even hiring this production company. Like, could they, come after us somehow? So that part of it. And so then when we did it, I wanted to do it. And I was like, let me just follow through. I didn't even have him come. I had no friends come. I was like, let me just freaking do this.
Right.
These jokes are
Where
really
was
good. Irvine Improv.
Oh.
The jokes were really good, and I knew it was time to retire them. And I want to be that woman like talking about their kid, and then you see the kid who's outside who's 6'4". It's like, okay, you just talked about him being in the second grade, you fucking loser. like have new jokes. So I was glad I did it, and I was happy with it in the end. But now I don't know. Like, someone would have to come to me and make it real easy for me to do it.
Right.
I'd
have to pay you. You paid for this, right?
I've written 2 books.
Did you pay it? You paid for it?
I've written 2 books. I don't need to do a third.
Right.
I've done 2 specials. I don't need to do a third unless it's going to be like a game changer in my life.
Yeah. Well, Juicy Scoop is on fire.
Like ego.
You're on fire with the Juicy Scoop.
Speaking of ego, I had Joe Coy on. He's a good friend of mine. And I mean, I love him, but he's a little braggy. And
is he getting there? Did that happen?
Well, I mean,
because he exploded.
A lot to brag about.
I know, but who cares?
He's doing like arenas. But anyway, so we were talking about his special. And he talked about how the first special he did, Netflix said no. This is like 5 years ago. And no. And he was so determined, which is a really inspiring story, that he was like, I'm going to do it myself. And my manager and I are like going to put up the money, but it's going to look amazing. It's going to look. And when I did mine, I want to say that we made sure that, the production company that had done Netflix specials. I knew that it was the right cameras and everything. It was appropriate purchase for Netflix if they wanted to buy it. So, but anyway, they didn't. Which is fine, whatever the reasons were.
Tough sale, yeah.
So anyway,
so Joe Coy comes on your show.
So comes on the podcast and he goes, I wasn't going to do it at the, fucking, and he's thinking, and I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, say it. Say the Irvine Improv. Fucking say it. Say it. And he's like, fucking Irvine Improv. And I'm like, yeah, that's where I did mine. And paid for it the entire amount myself. And so he's like, oh, Heather. And I was like, oh, the Juicy
Ken Jeong did his in an even smaller place. He did his at the Ice House.
Whatever people want. Like, some people are like all about it. I mean, at one point, I was like, one of my dreams is to have a billboard. I always thought I'd have a billboard. It used to be on a bus. Now I'm like, I'd like to be on a billboard.
On Sunset Boulevard.
On Sunset Boulevard. Right. And I remember Kathy Griffin admitted to paying for her own billboard for her first special. And I was like,
that's expensive.
That's
that
expensive.
billboard.
It's like at least, well, Sunset's probably like $100,000 a month or something, or at least 50. I think the cheapest one, even like on Ventura, would be like 20.
There was a comedian, James Stevens III. Do you remember him? James Stevens III had a sugar mama.
Oh.
Bought him a billboard
Like an Angeline.
on Sunset.
Oh my God.
She bought him the billboard. It was like, everybody's going, who the hell's this guy?
So I thought about it for like a second.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, at least now it's like I could like literally make fun of it, like eat a Chinese chicken salad next to it every day, like, you know, do some stuff for social media.
Sure.
And in fact, people would see it, you know? And I'm like, do I do it like in my neighborhood where I grew up, which is where I live now in Woodland Hills? Or do I, if I'm going to go for it, shouldn't I go for it? Like, and I remember one of my good friends, Guy Branham, he had a show that was like on like a smaller network. I don't even know if it exists. It was called the Game Show Talk Show or something. And they put his entire face on the wall, like near between the Comedy Store and that hotel.
I know exactly what you mean, that gigantic wall.
And I was just like, did you go there every day for 30 days?
Yeah.
Like what? I mean, what are you supposed to do about like what? And then all of a sudden I was like, who cares? Like, I don't need to do it. Like,
it's so funny you should say that because it's so fleeting.
That's what I'm saying.
It's so fleeting. I remember I was a guy in my acting class.
Yeah.
Was on a billboard on Sunset. And I'm like, oh my God. I was first out here. I'm going, oh my God. You wouldn't know him in a lineup today. And I'm not exaggerating. Probably homeless.
Yeah.
Honest to God. I mean, that's how fleeting. Well, here, look up here. That's New York Times, 10 photographs. It's now sepia. It looks like it's a Civil War.
Comics to watch.
Civil War. It's all about me on New York Times. The cover, three pages, 10 photographs. It's so fleeting. It means nothing. That's the whole thing. Is like you get there, and then there's another there, and another there.
Yeah. I don't regret that at all.
Do you have a there for you, or are you just happy in the moment?
I think this is it.
Yeah.
I'm ready to die tomorrow.
Now that you've done Craig Shoemaker's Enlightened Up podcast, I'm ready to die tomorrow.
You know what's just interesting? Because I was interviewing Spencer Pratt, and he was on The Hills, and he's like, but he's so hilarious, and he's like so honest about being a thirsty, fame-hungry person, but he's also a great producer, like coming up with show ideas and stuff. And he's like, this is why I should be a millionaire today or billionaire today. And he's like, I want that private jet. And I go, I don't know if I want that private jet. And he's like, what do you mean? I go, I mean, it would be nice to like fly private if I had to, or like get to a place where like, yes, I can spend that. I never want to own my own jet. I never want to own my own boat. I'm just like, when my friends that have like bigger houses, it's like a pain in the ass.
Right.
Like, I'm like, I literally cleaned out one bra drawer during COVID. That's it. That was my level.
Did you say a bra drawer?
A bra drawer.
What? I never even heard of a bra drawer.
It's just my bras, and I organized it, and that was the extent of like cleaning out shit. So my point is, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I want. I'm very, very happy, like touching the lives that I'm touching with the podcast and the amount of response.
You seem like you seem like you're in a pocket right now of happiness.
Like,
you got your kids.
Get a talk show. I'm like, hey,
now you're in the country club. You're going to your wine thing that you got to rush to.
If somebody wants to come and give me one, I would love to be on a larger platform. But I think I'm beyond like doing all the pitching the shows. Going, meeting these people and putting on eyelashes and wasting a day driving down there and pitching some dumb show to some cable network that now really probably will never get made. But even if it got made, it would take up a lot of time and actually not pay me that much. That's kind of where I am now, where it's like, and that's really freeing, not caring.
What is your take with Juicy Scoop? Is your take, I'm going to make fun of people, or do you have reverence for the people? It's basically, you know.
Well, what's really nice is people are like, I love it because you're not mean.
Right.
Like, I'll be like, you know what's really fun? Oh, I can imitate them, but I don't imitate like this loser or anything. I'll just imitate like what they said on the show or the character, like, or if it's a J-Lo and a Ben Affleck way, I go that they're dating again. I'll just like, make jokes
They
about
are?
they're dating again.
What?
Yes, they're dating again.
Oh, see, I have to go to you for all this. I'm missing
I will
this.
talk about here's some tips for J-Lo. Don't make Ben Affleck start dressing like you. That is like the fucking kiss of death. Remember when she slicked back to hair and they were driving Rolls Royces everywhere, and then all his Boston friends were like, "Oh, she's cutting off your ball sack." Just forget it. Just let him smoke and let him be Ben Affleck, and you be J-Lo. And don't do any movies together. Don't do any products together. Just let it be.
Right.
And so, I just kind of talk about it like that. I
Yeah,
don't
you
really
tease.
it's not mean.
It's like one of your friends. You're
more
teasing your
insight.
friends.
I just take topics and or if it's a reality show, and I relate it to a normal life or a normal marriage or whatever. And then I love a juicy crime, and then I'll be like, this is what I think happened. This is what I think happened with Scott Peterson.
Oh, okay.
And so sometimes I get into that.
Do you watch these Making a Murderer and all those?
All that stuff I
Me
love.
too. Murder on Middle Beach. Did you do that one?
I loved that.
Oh, me too.
What do you think happened in that one?
These are
What's
all
your theory?
these are all tough in my opinion.
The husband did it.
Oh,
the
yeah.
husband for sure. He hired a hitman to do it.
Yes.
Yes.
Hired hitman. That's exactly what I think.
Yeah.
What about Making a Murderer? Who's guilty on that one? That one I can't get enough of.
Oh, that was about
on
the
Netflix.
guy and then
this his
the
nephew.
dumb nephew.
The dumb nephew.
Yeah, I think he definitely was. I definitely think
You think he's the killer?
I do.
Do you really? What
Yeah.
about the kid?
No, I think the kid was I think the kid was definitely manipulated and was dumb. I do think there's dumb people. There was this other one called, it was a Dateline. It's my favorite one. It was Murder at Silver Lake. And it was about these group of 30-something blue-collar, hot people that lived around this man-made lake. I don't know, near Bakersfield or something. And they were swingers. She worked at Costco. It had everything I love. She started fucking the fireman, the young fireman, the rookie that had to go pick up all the snacks from Costco.
Yeah.
So he'd see her there every time on snack day, when he had to fill up the firehouse. So they started boning, and then he killed her husband. And her whole thing was I didn't know. But then they built this case for 2 years. And I knew her defense attorney was my sister's friend. I brought her in, and then I had her uncle calling me and telling me. And what I realized is that she was probably had a very low IQ. But she was blonde and she was pretty. She didn't finish high school. She got married out of high school, had kids right away. So she could take care of kids and clean a house, but she was probably if they had given her an IQ test, I really think she would have been borderline, really low.
Well, the looks is what appealed to the people that put it up, though. That's they always go for a good-looking white woman.
The story, yeah.
Yeah, they picked them. That's why we know who Lacey Peterson is.
Oh yeah.
We know all their names. John Benet Ramsey.
Right.
It just goes on and on and on. But you never see Lucretia from Compton.
Yeah, unfortunately, you don't.
Right,
Yeah.
because they want to appeal to the white people that watch the show.
Well, when you watch when you see a couple they were in Texas and they were rich, and he was a dentist, and she started screwing the pastor. You're like, oh, I have a pretty good life, and if I take a wrong turn, this could happen to me. So it's the relatable kind of stuff. It's not these gang members killed this person. You're just no, I want to know that someone screwed their life.
When we're off the air, but
that's where he's.
Your husband's outside. He's jealous.
He set the alarm.
He's jealous that we're in here.
We have a prepaid.
It's prepaid.
Of course.
Oh, no wonder
late.
Peter's.
We can't be late.
He's got a fire under him.
Oh my God!
I have
nothing like a wine pairing dinner at the.
Oh my God! At the
North
country
Ranch
club.
Club.
Oh yes, you guys
and
are country
I've got
clubbers.
my son. I birthed an in-house Uber driver.
That's awesome.
So he's here with us now, and then he's gonna drive us to the country club, and then he's gonna play golf by himself.
Oh.
And then drive us home.
Oh, that's like a dream. Everything's perfect on
plan
that.
it all
Yeah,
out.
see, you don't need any private jets. You got
Including
a kid
seeing you.
Uber.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad you were here. I will tell you off the air, I actually have a murder mystery unfolding. Me and my friend are on the phone with one another constantly. We think that we're onto one. You ever have that happen? I'll tell you off the air.
Within your circle?
Within my circle. Yeah, we think that with
Okay.
yes. Oh, we're freaking out. We can't stop. It's like
Okay.
another sign. It is crazy how this is
Okay, do
unfolding.
tell.
Oh, I'm going to tell you off the air because
And then when you can tell it,
I don't want
you're
the
gonna
murder-
Tell it to me on Juicy Scoop.
I don't want the murderer to hear me.
Okay.
To know that
You're on to him.
I'm on. I'm on to it. Yes, absolutely. But what a pleasure having you here. I can't wait to do Juicy Scoop again. By the way, I friend poached the other day on you. I have to admit it.
Who? Which
No,
one?
I didn't friend poach. Tori Spelling.
Oh, okay.
I went to the fireworks with Tori Spelling.
Oh, fun.
Yes, she told me that she does your show.
Yes.
So I can't wait to come back on there. And my new buddy, Chris
adorable.
Franjola, I love him too.
Yeah.
And love you and love your husband even more. Anyway, so I had to go through her husband to book her on the show. But I'm going to call you from now on when I go to the mansion. All right?
All right, but I still want to bring the husband.
No,
right.
that's part of the thing.
Can I
you
at
know,
least
make
bring
people
my son Drake?
No, make people talk. I took,
get a rumor,
you know,
start a
I took
rumor
there.
going.
She mentioned on Mark Maron, Katie Seagal. I took her there without her husband.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. So it's been done
and
before.
her husband's hot.
Her Katie Seagal's husband?
Yeah.
You think he's hot?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell her.
All right.
Do you have you had her on your Juicy Scoop?
No, get her on my Juicy Scoop. I'd love to have her
I think
on.
that's my way in. I think it's my only
my
way back.
gosh.
I've only been on once.
She has a killer life story. Like, I love her life story, so I'd love to get her on.
Yes, and her
What a
dad and
career.
everything. Yes,
Yeah.
a lot of stuff there. Anyway, Heather, thank you. Why don't you do another one of these? All right.
Okay.
I'd love to, because I was rushed.
Okay.
I was rushed by Peter. He's pounding on the door out here. Get to the wine tasting. Anyway, thank you. How do we find you on Instagram? As if you need any more followers.
McDonald, MC Donald. So Heather McDonald.
You got your
for
name.
everything.
You don't have to do
And then
official.
My
and-
website is heathermcdonald.net.
Oh, man.
Find everything there.
Go see Heather. She's one of the best comedians out there. She's killing it. Listen to her podcast, one of the most popular podcasts. Tell me the number, so I'm jealous. Go ahead. How many people download?
Oh, like
I heard a
weekly
number. I heard a
average?
number. I heard a
I don't
number.
know. I don't want to say that. Who cares? It might change tomorrow.
Oh, I care.
I'll tell you off record. I'm
All
not
right, I want to be.
saying that
I want to
here.
be momotivated.
Okay, I'm not saying that here.
Yes,
Okay.
you are. All right, anyway, by the way, my friend, the murder mystery person.
Yeah.
She's your biggest fan.
Oh, awesome.
Big fan, and you're gonna friend poach her.
Okay, sounds good.
Yes, she's awesome. Anyway, that's right, Jen. This goes out to you. This is your show. I had Heather on just for you. All right, Jen? She's probably laughing and smiling right now because I had Heather McDonald on here. So everybody, please listen to this. Let's move away from the darkness out there. There's plenty of it. There's plenty of angry people. They're frustrated because they really don't know where their lives are going, and they empower other people to dictate their lives. Don't do that. Take control of your own life. Really master your own destiny, and that is through laughter and fun and having a great time. That's what Heather's podcast is about. I implore you to listen to hers. Obviously, watch mine, listen to mine, YouTube. It's on all the places you can get it. Give it a good rating, pass the word around, all that. Just remember these words, though, to take you through your day. Enlighten the fuck up, will you? See you next time.